across the board as the commanders of the TSA, of course, to now they take the children away to a special room. I guess rape rooms weren't real in Saddam's country, but they are here. Genital rape rooms. And now congresswomen are coming out saying, yes, they're hiring pedos as the commanders to pilfer our children in savage pedophile attacks. Yes, this is land of the pedophile kingdom. Joining us is the gentleman who has TSA out of our pants. And I want to thank you, Rob Corbett, for joining us. We're going to break in 3 minutes, but tell us the latest. You evil Jon Corbett. I know I got Rob on the line with me. I'm sorry. I know it's Jon Corbett. I knew it was Jon Corbett, and I was told last minute it's... Let's just call you Rob Corbett. Jon Corbett, thank you for coming on with us today.
Thanks, Alex. How are you?
I am doing a crazy down-the-road live experimental transmission with experimental technologies, but it is good to have you here. Tell us what's coming up with the TSA rape rooms.
Well, lots of good stuff. Actually, one of the more interesting things that just happened recently is one of my lawsuits against the TSA. One of the things that I'm suing over is a records request. I asked the TSA and the local airport government for some video of me going through the checkpoint, and they told me it didn't exist. And eventually I kept pressing them. Well, what are these camera domes that are up there? What are all these? And they said, well, we couldn't tell you whether or not they existed. So they essentially lied to me in a Freedom of Information Act request, denying the existence of video for security purposes. Yeah.
They don't lie. I mean, all they do is lie. They even lie when the truth would serve them better. Continue.
It's true, and it's just a pattern of hiding things from the media, which, you know, we saw when my video came out. They warned reporters not to cover it, and now we're seeing it again with the scandal that we're seeing in Florida with a whole slew of TSA screeners being disciplined for some sort of not following procedures that the TSA hasn't actually released yet. The speculation might be that it's kind of a revolt against groping the passengers. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Now, I've talked to TSA who just got it for jobs, and they phased it in years ago, and they need the money, that they have been cutting back the groping, and that the feds are saying, break their will, squeeze the genitals. I mean, they want to hurt you, as the Congress people have said. They want to show you that you have no space, that government is God, that the drones are here, the checkpoints are here, and the new flag of America will be a child with a man grabbing them, dragging them into a closed-door area to strip them down as they cry. And if daddy gets mad, airport police are called in to taser, and if the neck needs to be broken, and this has happened several times, you will be murdered. You will be murdered if your child cries and you fight back. We'll be right back with someone fighting the pedophiles. Stay with us. It's coming to you live from the road, and we have gotten back right close to the Texas homeland. The Texas headquarters, deep in the heart of Texas, geographically, right in the middle of Texas. Good old Austin, Texas. And boy, is it good to be back in our beloved Texas. As beautiful as Virginia and Arkansas and Tennessee are, I tell you, I love my state of Texas. And that's where all my kinfolks are, and where they're all buried right back to the 1830s. And so it is good to be back here, deep in the heart of Texas. All right, Jon Corbett, who sued the TSA, infiltrated, exposed them. There's a revolt inside TSA. That's been confirmed over the naked body scanners and cancer clusters. Also, the TSA is refusing to grope genitals. They know it's all a fraud. It's in the news that Al-Qaeda, CIA funded. They understand they're being told now it's the libertarians of the new terrorists. TSA is starting to wake up. And he has now confirmed, as it's been in the Houston Chronicle, it's been all over the country. They got highway checkpoints, bus station checkpoints. They are. I've seen it in Miami where they grope the children's genitals, take their shirts off at bus stations. But now it's all 50 states with the Army, with the Marine Corps, with National Guard, with firearms, TSA, who aren't, it's outside of esprit de corps, outside of law. They're not sworn bonded. They command the military, the police. They are Homeland Security's weird, pot-bellied brown shirt like Hitler had. Stalin had a disheveled shirt hanging out group that was over the military and police. Because there's always, even in old empires, some esprit de corps in the system. Because old smart police systems know if you're disgraceful, you'll be hated. So tyrannies always create kind of a disposable diaper, thug. that has quasi-police powers that is the new commander. And so they can be flushed and given a night of the long knives if you studied history. So the TSA is waking up. Give us the big data dump on them hitting the streets, the internal warfare, your lawsuits. Of course, his blog spot is TSA Out of Our Pants. Give us that actual URL. Jon Corbett with big breaking news. They've called the media. These memos have come out. And TSA has said, do not interview him if you know what's good for you. Now the TSA tells the media what to do. In America, they are our gods, our kings, our rulers, our occupiers for the foreign bankers. Jon Corbett, you've got the floor. Tell us what's happening.
Sure. Well, you mentioned the incident that I found a week or so ago at a music festival. I traveled to a music festival in Detroit, Michigan. It's a pretty quiet city nowadays. There's a lot of abandoned buildings and then just neighborhoods that look like they once were probably full of people, but now are empty. So standing out in that is a group of TSA inspectors wandering around outside the festival. These people say that they're there. They can look because there's transportation in the area. There was a light rail there, so that's how they're justified. And these guys are armed. These guys look just like police officers. They even wore vests that said police. But upon closer look, they were TSA inspectors. And then inside the music festival, we found.
And again, the inspector means. And I want you to start over, but to explain how this works, it's the Viper teams expanding out, and they now do the hands on the groin and the bag search all over the country, outside of jurisdiction, no warrants, like there's a magic wand. They just do whatever they want. Please continue.
Correct. We've heard the stories about them at the Amtrak stations, at the Greyhound stations, all over the country, even at highways sometimes. And they're conducting those kinds of searches. And the ones that I encountered weren't actually searching anyone. They were just kind of wandering, looming, standing there like they were trying to establish their presence or something. So
it's an acclimator. It's an acclimator.
Absolutely. I don't think that most people thought anything of it because they just see a bunch of guys that look like police. But, a little bit closer, these guys are TSA, the Department of Homeland Security, policing the streets of America now.
Yeah, they're federal police, but they're not real police, and they violate the entire Bill of Rights and Constitution with their submission hold of the genitals. Your children, your wife. Please continue. The old ladies crying, the strip searches. This is the pure delivery into hell. Continue.
Sure. So in addition to them, I found customs agents, border patrol agents inside of the music festival. Now Detroit is a border city. It's right next to Canada. But the question remains: what kind of illegal immigration or whatever they might be looking for is happening inside of a music festival? The fact of the matter is, no one is actually crossing the border at the same time as enjoying the festival. So now we have TSA.
It's a power grab.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have Customs and Border Patrol inside policing. And I asked them, do you guys stand in this park normally? And they said, well, we can go wherever we want because we can enforce state and federal law. We're within however many miles of the border, and that's just the way it is. And we've all heard at least. Yeah,
let me stop you.
Of this. Yeah.
It's called a Constitution-free zone. It's not law. 100 miles in, we drove south to San Antonio to go to the beach with my children 3 weeks ago. Just south of San Antonio, more than 200 miles from the border, they had Border Patrol with license plate readers, and they were not pulling over illegals. I've confirmed they're now harassing citizens. They are now Border Patrol everywhere, and there's illegal aliens to your left and your right. Day labor sites, the cities pay for it. The banks take their cards. It's a total federal takeover. The CFR came out 4 days ago and said they're going to have Army in every city to work with the SWAT teams and kill U.S. citizens. They said we're going to call out airstrikes on U.S. citizens.
absolutely. Look at where they're starting.
Go ahead.
In a city like Detroit, where the people there, they need additional police protection. The Detroit Police Department is cash-strapped and small, and it's a big city to patrol. So they're going to be a little bit more, accepting of, the police, kind of like in the airports, anything to keep us safer. So they're systematically targeting these locations where they're going to get a little bit less resistance. And then once they're in Detroit, and once they're in these other cities that have kind of half-heartedly allowed them, they're going to say, well, why can't we expand to New York? You just did it in Detroit. Why can't we expand to Miami, Los Angeles? So that's what we're going to see now.
And they're already there. And
yeah.
Well, I mean, everything you're saying is spot on. This is a planned rollout. The globalist, we have the documents, imploded Detroit on purpose, paid to ship all the last jobs out. Now they're going to bulldoze a third of it. They're in Houston. They're in Dallas. They're everywhere. And they just show up now and say, we can be wherever we want. This is amazing, isn't it?
It's absolutely amazing, and one has to wonder why it doesn't stop. Where are our legislators getting rid of this constitution-free zone? That was something that was invented by the court system, constitution-free zone, to control the jurisdiction of Customs and Border Patrol. So why isn't legislation bringing these guys in? And not even just for civil rights purposes, but for practical use purposes. We have a border that needs to be patrolled. Why on earth are these guys in music festivals not actually on the border patrolling it?
Well, it's total federal acclamation. I mean, I've driven through checkpoints, you name it, with Army, Marines. They got firearms, DWI checkpoints. They admit it is the takeover. They've had troops in police uniforms for at least 24 years killing citizens. And that's in my film, Road to Tyranny. Killing them. They wear generic police uniforms. Same thing you saw. I mean, those could have been... They had Marines engaging me just 3 days ago. They had Marines going, I really support you, and grabbing my hand and trying to take their thumb and jabbing it and smiling at me and telling people leave and threatening people. This is America. We face Marines in PSYOPs trying to go protest in America. Okay? This is total treason. It's totally criminal. Now tell folks about the latest savage abuses of women and old people in the TSA rape rooms.
That story just seems to be getting old by now. Every week or sometimes even less, we hear of another person that was violated by the TSA. These private rooms that the TSA has for additional screening that they'll so nicely offer you, don't ever do it. I mean, the TSA will molest you enough in public to let them go into private is just giving them a license to do things to you without any kind of view of the public, without any kind of recourse. So I mean, my advice strongest to travelers is to never go into a back room. It's not worth it. Even if you have to miss your flight, it's not worth going into the TSA back room.
And let me expand on this. First, it's body scanners and only groping if you don't. Now it's you body scan, you get groped everywhere. They admit that their plan is to make everyone go in the rooms, finally, who they want to pull out in the screening process and be strip searched. This is their admissions. So they're phasing it in and lying about taking the clothes off old women. Just yesterday it was in the news where they went in public, took the woman's shirt off, grabbed her breast in front of everyone. If you cry, the police come. I mean, this is your children cry as they now drag them away to the rape rooms. These are physical, under code, under law rape rooms. And as you said, and now they have these armored, bulletproof rape rooms. It was 200 first ordered. Now there's an additional 1,000 being ordered. Bulletproof rape rooms at mobile checkpoints. So they're going to rape you on the side of the road. What do you make of this?
I don't even know. I haven't even gotten that far. I'm still working on the airport. But, in the airport, you're absolutely right. And it's important for everyone to know that you can say no. The TSA does not have the right to detain you. And they oftentimes get around it by having you arrested for yelling and screaming. Just don't do that. If you can, just calmly tell the TSA, I decline your search. And you know what? You might not fly that day. It's totally worth it. It's like if you had to be raped in order to fly, would you do it? Obviously not. But yet some people risk it with the TSA. It's just not good. It's not worth it. File complaints. Go to a different airport on a different day. You'll make.
We're going to break. You're absolutely right. And again, if they can get the beachhead at the airports, I told people 10 years ago, they'll be at highways, they'll be for your jobs. They admit they're going to take over. You're not going to get a job if they don't say. It's a national security state run by Homeland Security. Homeland Security is the foreign banker occupational takeover to absorb the republic. We'll be back with another segment with Jon Corbett of TSA Out of My Pants to get the latest he's working on in his lawsuits.
Hello, this is Ty Bollinger, author of the best-selling book, Cancer.
We are back live here, ladies and gentlemen.